At 10:17 a.m. on January 6, 1979, two parents walked into their Singapore apartment and found all four of their children dead, slashed, piled in the bathroom. The oldest boy's arm was nearly severed off. Each child had at least 20 wounds carved into their small bodies. What will haunt you is the calling card. 2 weeks later, the grieving parents received a Chinese New Year card that read, "Now you can have no more offspring. Signed, the murderer." This wasn't random. Someone who knew this family intimately wanted these children dead. After 45 years, they're still walking free. Something might finally crack this case wide open, and it all started with a single YouTube comment. Let me paint you a picture of the perfect family. Singapore, 1979. Tan Kun Chai and his wife Lee Mei Ying are living the immigrant dream. They own a minibus, shuttling neighborhood kids to school every morning. Honest work, good money, for beautiful children. Tan Kok Pong, 10 years old, the protector. Kok Hin, 8, the troublemaker. Kok Soon, 6, the quiet one. And little Chin Nei, just 5, the only girl. They live in a tiny one-room apartment at Block 58, Geylang Bahru. The boys share one bed. Chin Nei sleeps with her parents. It's cramped, but it's home. It's safe. Every morning, same routine. Parents leave at 6:35 a.m. sharp for work. The children sleep in until mom calls at 7:10 to wake them for school. Simple, predictable, protected. But on January 6, 1979, when Lee Mei Ying called to wake her babies, no one answered. What she didn't know is that someone had already been inside. Someone who knew their routine. Someone the children trusted enough to open the door for. By 10 a.m., Tan and Lee are panicking. The neighbor couldn't get anyone to answer the door. They race home, keys shaking in their hands. The apartment is quiet. Too quiet. No sounds of children getting ready for school. No cartoon shows playing on the radio. And then they see it. For small bodies, piled on top of each other in the bathroom. Blood everywhere. The killer had stacked them like they were nothing more than garbage. But here's where this gets disturbing. The pathologist's report reveals something that makes your skin crawl. Each child fought. Each tried to run. The wounds show they were chased through that tiny apartment. Kok Pong, the oldest, had defensive wounds on his hands. His right arm was nearly severed. He died trying to protect his younger siblings. In his clenched fist, investigators found something crucial: the killer's hair, ripped out during the struggle. In 1979, DNA testing was primitive. Those samples meant nothing then. The killer's identity was literally in police hands, but they couldn't read it. The crime scene tells a chilling story. No forced entry, nothing stolen. The killer used a chopper from the family's own kitchen, plus a dagger they brought with them. Both weapons? Never found. The most haunting detail? The killer cleaned up. Blood in the kitchen sink shows they washed themselves off before calmly walking out. This wasn't a crime of passion. This was execution. Police interview over 100 neighbors. Everyone loved the Tan family. No enemies, no debts, no reason for anyone to want them dead. But then they find her, Yam Een Tin, 68 years old. She sits in the corridor every morning, watching everything. She would have seen whoever entered that apartment. But on January 6th, she was washing her hair, the one morning that mattered most. The building's eyes and ears were blind. Convenient, isn't it? Then comes the breakthrough. A taxi driver reports picking up a passenger at 8 a.m. near the crime scene. Mid-20s male, walking with a limp, blood on his clothes. He was carrying a knife that banged against the taxi door when he got out. The description points to the Malaysian neighbor everyone called Uncle. Someone the children knew so well, they trusted him completely. Meet this Malaysian neighbor. No name ever released, but everyone in Block 58 knew him. He visited the Tan family almost daily, used their phone, played with the children. He was like family. The taxi driver picks him out of a lineup immediately. That's him. That's the man with blood on his clothes. Case closed. Right? Wrong. No physical evidence. No murder weapon. No witnesses to the actual crime. The police have to let him go. What haunts everyone involved is what happened next. After his release, Uncle disappears, moves out of Block 58, vanishes into Malaysia, never to be seen again. The families in Block 58 are terrified. They know who did it. They know he got away. And they know he could come back. But that's not the end of the story. 2 weeks later, the grieving parents receive mail that will destroy what's left of their sanity. A Chinese New Year card. Happy children playing. Innocent. Cheerful. Until you read the message inside. Now you can have no more offspring. The card addresses the parents by their nicknames, Achai and Aeng. Only someone close to the family would know these names. There's something else in that message. Something that proves this killer knew intimate details about the family. Li Meiying had been sterilized after Chin Nei's birth. Only family and close friends knew she couldn't have more children. The killer wasn't just taunting them about the murders. They were celebrating the fact that the Tan family line was ended forever. For 38 years, the case went cold. The hair evidence collected dust. The Malaysian suspect never returned. The truth seemed buried forever. Until January 12, 2017. YouTuber Kailai Elise uploads a video about unsolved mysteries. The Tan family massacre gets new life on the internet. Suddenly, people are talking about this forgotten tragedy again. And then, buried in the comments, someone using the name Acidays drops a bombshell. They claim to know the real motive, and it's not what anyone expected. According to this commenter, the murders weren't random. They were revenge over a lottery ticket dispute. The story goes like this. Uncle had asked the Tans to buy specific lottery numbers. When those numbers won, he came to collect his winnings. The Tans told him they forgot to buy the tickets. No tickets, no winnings. Then Uncle sees the family's new minibus, their sudden prosperity. In his twisted mind, the Tans had bought his lottery tickets with his numbers and used his winnings to buy that bus. They had stolen from him, and in his rage, he decided they would pay the ultimate price. In the twisted logic of a murderer, he couldn't hurt the parents directly. That would be too obvious. Instead, he would destroy what they loved most. Their children, their future, their legacy. The YouTube commenter reveals something else. Something the newspapers never reported. After the murders, neighbors started hearing things. Children's voices, laughter, running footsteps, coming from the empty Tan apartment. Some claimed to see small figures through the kitchen when they knew no one was home. Children, still playing together in death. But the most chilling detail? The commenter claims Uncle was connected to gang activities, which explains why no one ever came forward with more information. The neighborhood was scared, not just of the murderer, but of his friends, his connections. Speaking up could mean becoming the next victims. So the case died. Witnesses stayed silent. Evidence went nowhere. And 4 children's killer walked free. Attempts to contact Acidays have failed. The account seems abandoned. The only detailed explanation of the murders has vanished into the digital void. Which brings us to the question that will keep you awake tonight. I visited Block 58 in Geylang Bahru. The building still stands. Families still live there. Children still play in the corridors where 4 innocents were brutally murdered. The Tan family apartment has new tenants. They have no idea about the horror that happened in their bathroom. Or maybe they do, and they just don't talk about it. I contacted the Singapore police force about the case. They confirmed it remains unsolved. The hair evidence is still in storage, waiting for advances in DNA technology that might identify the killer. But here's what haunts me about this case. If the YouTube commenter is right, if this was really about a lottery ticket, then 4 children died over pocket change. A few $100s, maybe a few thousand, their entire lives. Kok Peng's dreams, Kok Hin's mischief, Kok Soon's quiet wisdom, Chin Nei's laughter, all snuffed out over money that could fit in your wallet. Tan Kun Chai died in 2007, never knowing who killed his children. Li Meiying is still alive, still waiting for justice that may never come. But there's something else you need to know. something that changes everything. Remember how Lee Mei-ing was sterilized? How the killer taunted them about having no more offspring? After the murders, Lee underwent surgery to reverse her sterilization. In 1982, she gave birth to another child. The killer didn't win. The Tan family line continues. And somewhere in Singapore today, a person exists who wouldn't be alive if not for the most horrific tragedy in the nation's history.